Have you ever found yourself wondering who is the best Skywars player? Is it Lifelong, the first player to hit 200 stars? Is it Technoblade, the Skywars legend who never dies? Or maybe one of the elite ranked Skywars players who reach Masters Division every other season? Well, there's a lot that goes into how good a Skywars player is, and some might say it's impossible to tell who truly is the best. Today, I'm going to be diving into some of the best candidates and most interesting players that I've found in my search for the best Skywars player. Hey guys, Dr. Cube here, and today we're going to be digging into the Skywars player base to find some of the most skilled individuals out there. Now of course, it is pretty much impossible to narrow it down to one person, and that's because there's so many different game modes in Skywars, and it will be very hard to determine the skill of individual players. You'd also need to look into their most recent in-game performance, and overall it's just a bit of a mess. So instead, I'm going to be looking at overall stats, and some very interesting individuals who I think could be known as some of the best Skywars players out there. Now of course, overall stats are not entirely reflective of a player's skill, so if you feel I've missed someone, do feel free to leave a comment and maybe I'll do another video covering the people I've missed. Alright, so first up we have Technoblade, possibly the most famous Skywars player ever. We all know the saying, Technoblade never dies, and his videos make him look like a very skilled player. However, Technoblade unfortunately cannot be considered as the best Skywars player, although he does have some pretty impressive stats. He has the 4th best kill-death ratio of anyone I've found, sitting at 12.56, and the 2nd best win-lose ratio at 2.4. So even with these stats, why do I think he's not one of the best players? Well, it's because he only has 20 heads. Without going into too much detail, this pretty much means he's barely played any Skywars since late December of 2018. And that makes sense, because he's only made 8 Skywars videos since the time heads were added to Skywars. So you might be thinking now, despite these incredible stats that Technoblade has, how could anyone be higher than him? Well, here's the answer, a player named leyterz. leyterz has the best stats of anyone I've ever found, and it's absolutely crazy how good they are. They have a 22.8 kill-death ratio and a 5.8 win-lose ratio. Now, if you think that's crazy, if you look at his solo stats, he has a 41 KDR and almost a 10 win-lose ratio. And that's just freaking insane. I can't imagine how someone could kill over 40 people and only die once. With that said though, he sits in the same position as Technoblade, having 0 heads, meaning leyterz probably hasn't played since late 2018. Now, the reason we can't consider people who haven't played since the head update for a title of some of the best Skywars players is because the game has become a lot sweatier in the past years. I'm pretty sure top players from that era wouldn't match up to some of the sweatier players these days. So with that said, we come to the person with the 2nd highest kill death and win-lose ratio, Huiber, or Huiber, I don't know how to pronounce it. He has a 14.7 kill death ratio and a 2.76 win-lose ratio. And he is actually number 1 on the Plancake or Plank.io kill death and win-lose ratio leaderboard. The reason players like Technoblade and leyterz aren't on this leaderboard is because it only takes the 1,000 players with the most wins into consideration for the leaderboard, and since leyterz and Technoblade haven't played since 2018, they haven't passed the 11,998 win threshold to be on the leaderboard for this website. So congratulations to Huiber for having the best stats of any active Skywars player to my knowledge. Definitely a very good player and someone who can be considered as one of the best. Now that we've found people with the best stats, let's move on to some interesting players that I've found during my journey into Skywars stats. I think you might find this pretty interesting, as I know I definitely did. But firstly, I'd like to point out a few players that are highly regarded in the community as top players, being Solike, Verma, Disco Zombos, Fire Elfie HD, Thuntree, Lifelong, and you know what, pretty much any top 10 player under wins, kills, or level, the sheer amount of hours they put into the game truly does make them some of the best out there. But with that said, there is an anomaly on the Skywars leaderboards. If we look at the top 10 players with the most wins in the Skywars lobby, MAGICDUST is 3rd overall. However, if we look at any of the other leaderboards, MAGICDUST is not in the top 10 kills or levels. So how did MAGICDUST get top 3 on one leaderboard, and not even the top 20 on any other leaderboard? Well, that's because MAGICDUST almost exclusively plays ranked Skywars. Of his 69,000 wins, almost 64,000 of those are in ranked Skywars, and that explains why MAGICDUST is not in the top 20 for any other leaderboard, because ranked gives less XP and has less people to kill. With that said though, I think MAGICDUST can definitely be considered as a top player, finishing in Masters Division 9 times, the most recent 2 being in first place. I myself have been unlucky to queue into a ranked game with MAGICDUST, and they are a monster, definitely an incredible Skywars player. On the topic of ranked Skywars, here's the first interesting find of the video. When I went into the kill death and win-lose ratio leaderboards for ranked Skywars, I was shocked by what I saw. Illumina. That's right, Illumina, the speedrunner, has the highest kill-death ratio, being 13.35, and the highest win-lose ratio, sitting at 5.2 in ranked Skywars. Not only that, but I discovered Illumina also placed in first position in the first ever season of ranked Skywars, and is 698th in total ranked wins, placing ahead of some other YouTubers who happen to be in the top 1000 for ranked wins, such as Quig, Speedsilver, Fruitberries, and RKY. So good on Illumina for making it into hypixel Skywars history and leaderboards. And now with another smooth transition, here's some stuff I found out about YouTubers and Skywars leaderboards. There are 19 YouTubers who are in the top 1000 for wins, 20 if you count IRKT, who for some reason doesn't have YouTube rank anymore. One of the most unexpected ones is RUMadLol in 999th, with 12,002 wins, a comfortable 4 wins ahead of 1000th place. Honestly unexpected, but congrats for being in the top 1000. Now switching it up, we're going to take a look at some lab players, specifically a player named Agent 35, notorious for having the majority of his XP coming from lab Skywars. If you check the lab leaderboards in-game, Agent 35 is in first place for Lucky Block and Slime, having over 10,000 wins in Lucky Block and over 17,000 wins in Slime. Now, that's pretty insane. However, just because Agent 35 is a top lab player doesn't mean they're terrible at normal mode, and after doing the calculations, Agent 35 would be level 28 without all the XP from lab. However, adding the 2/3 of his total XP coming from lab Skywars back to his total, Agent 35 is currently a 64 star, so they are definitely a player to respect. As someone in the lab Skywars community, there are some people I have to pay respects to for being some of the best. In Lucky Block, PXY or Pixie, Polar Bears, and Vova7865 are 2 very good players rising up on the leaderboards, and are often on the weekly leaderboards for Lucky Block. There are also the BattleAxe42, Wesley, and Chosen, who are already on the leaderboards, but are constantly getting dozens of wins a month, and are very good lab players. In fact, I think Chosen actually set the speedrun record for Lucky Block Skywars recently with a time of 1 minute and 6 seconds, so congrats to Chosen, who actually used to be a regular Skywars leaderboard player as well, and I believe he still is up there somewhere. For Slime, I can say Skipple, Ads, Cesaurus, Silent, Mame14, Vova7865, and Dorabora are all great Slime players, and I know if you look at the leaderboard I'm just listing some of the players from the top 10, but I'm speaking from in-game experience and who I know is still active and actually good at the game. Although, with that said, I've actually beaten every one of the players I listed on several occasions, so I myself can claim a spot as one of the best Skywars players, even though I'm not on leaderboards and it's in a slightly less popular game mode. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. I hope you did enjoy and found this as interesting as I did. If you think I missed anyone, leave a comment and share the video around. I'd love to see if I can get any of the people I listed in this video to watch and maybe leave a comment. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'm currently trying to get more into the Skywars community, so I'd love to get to know more of you Skywars players out there. Like I said though, that's all I had for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.